VM0042 is an 80-page methodology document. If you've tried reading it, you know it's dense. It covers multiple practice types, 2 quantification approaches, 6 modules, and dozens of cross-references to the VCS standard. This video is not a replacement for the document. It's a map, so you know where you are when you read it. In 10 minutes, I'll cover what VM0042 does, which projects it applies to, how to tell which module and approach are right for your situation, and what to expect for the timeline and cost of implementation. VM0042, full name Improved Agricultural Land Management, is the primary Verra methodology for soil organic carbon credits. Version 2.1, released June 2023, is the current active version. There are 3 types of greenhouse gas benefit it can quantify. 1. SOC stock increases. When management improves, organic matter accumulates. 0.5 to 5 megagrams of carbon per hectare per year is a realistic range depending on climate, soil, and practice. 2. Nitrous oxide emission reductions. Improved nitrogen management reduces N2O emissions. N2O has a warming potential 265 times that of CO2, so even small reductions translate to meaningful credits. 3. CO2 from fossil fuel. Reduced tillage means fewer passes and less diesel. Usually minor relative to SOC and N2O, but included for completeness. Most agricultural carbon projects claim primarily SOC. It's the largest component and the one with the most commercial interest. Walk through this decision tree before developing your PDD. There are 5 questions. A no answer on questions 1 through 3 routes you out of VM0042 entirely to a different methodology. Uncertainty on additionality. At question 4 means you need to resolve that before writing a single line of the PDD. Question 5, which quantification approach, is where most projects make their most consequential early decision. I'll go through each question in the next few slides. Question 1. Is the land agricultural, cropland, grassland, or agroforestry? If no, VM0042 doesn't apply. Forest go to REDD plus methodologies, wetlands to VM0036, non-agricultural land to other pathways. If yes, continue. Question 2. Has the land been under agricultural management for at least 10 years? This is a hard requirement. You need historical records to demonstrate it. If no, you may still qualify under the grassland restoration module, but it's more complex and requires a different documentation approach. If yes, continue to question 3. Question 3. Is the project activity a management change rather than a land use conversion? Converting forest to cropland is not an eligible VM0042 activity. Changing how you manage existing agricultural land is. If the activity is a land use conversion, look at VM0017 or VM0047. If yes, continue. Question 4. Can you demonstrate additionality? There's a 3-part test. The activity must not be mandated by law, not financially viable without carbon finance, and not already common practice in the region. If you're uncertain about any of these, go to Chapter 3 of the PDF guide before proceeding. Additionality failure is a common reason for validation rejection. Question 5 is where most projects diverge. Approach 1. Direct measurement means field sampling, lab analysis, and statistical estimation. Higher cost per hectare, lower uncertainty. Right for most projects under 5,000 hectares, and for projects targeting high-quality carbon ratings. Approach 2. Process-based modeling uses calibrated models like DayCent or Roth-C to simulate SOC change. Lower field cost, higher modeling uncertainty. Right for very large aggregation programs where per hectare sampling is prohibitive. Most of this toolkit, and most of this video series, focuses on Approach 1. If you're considering Approach 2, the modeling video is Video 9. Within Approach 1, VM0042 is organized into 6 modules labeled A1 through A6. Each covers a different practice type. Module A1, Improved Cropland Management, Tillage Changes, Cover Crops, Crop Rotation, and Residue Management. This covers 90% of the agricultural SOC projects currently in development. Module A2, improved grassland management, rotational grazing, stocking density reduction, native grass restoration. Module A3, cropland restoration to grassland, reversing historical conversion. Module A4, improved water management, primarily paddy rice, where reducing flooding reduces methane. Module A5, improved nutrient management, primarily N2O reduction from better fertilizer timing and form. Module A6, agroforestry, tree component only. Combine with A1 for the soil component. For the vast majority of practitioners, you're working with Module A1. Let me be specific about what this actually takes, because the timeline surprises people. From the decision to pursue a VM0042 project to the first credit issuance, typically 18 to 36 months of development work, then 3 to 5 years of monitoring before the first issuance. The phases: feasibility and PDD development, 3 to 6 months. VVB validation, 3 to 6 months. Longer if you get corrective action requests, which is common. Baseline sampling and lab analysis, 1 to 2 months. Verra registration, 1 to 2 months. First monitoring period, 3 to 5 years before sampling. Monitoring, verification, and credit issuance, another 3 to 6 months. The first credits typically arrive 4 to 6 years after project initiation. This is not an obstacle. It's the nature of soil carbon crediting, and it's the same for all methodologies. But plan for it financially. On cost, for a 500-hectare approach 1 project, budget approximately $15,000 to $50,000 for PDD development and validation. $5,000 to $20,000 per monitoring event for project management. $200 to $600 per composite sample, including lab analysis. Total typical cost in year 1, $40,000 to $100,000, depending on how much you outsource. The toolkit is designed to reduce the outsourcing cost, particularly for PDD development, sampling design, and GHG calculation. The goal is that a technically competent practitioner can complete these components without hiring a specialist consultant. This is video 1 of 12 in the VM0042 Toolkit tutorial series. Here's how the series maps to the implementation workflow. Videos 1 and 2 cover orientation. This video, plus eligibility screening. Videos 3 through 5 cover sampling design, baseline documentation, stratification, and sample size calculation. Videos 6 through 8 cover measurement and analysis, ESM correction, lab analysis quality control, and statistical analysis. Video 6 is the flagship technical video in the series. Videos 9 and 10 cover modeling approach and uncertainty propagation. Videos 11 and 12 cover PDD writing and the 15 most common rejection reasons. If you're already in the middle of a project, go directly to the video covering your current stage. Each video is self-contained. The toolkit has 4 components that work together. The PDF guide has 12 chapters, 1 per major implementation step, with every formula, every unit conversion, and every reference citation. The Python library, the VM0042 package, implements ESM correction, stratification design, statistical analysis, uncertainty assessment, and automated PDD section generation. The Excel templates cover sampling design, the uncertainty aggregator, and data entry for practitioners who don't use Python. And this video series, 12 videos, 1 per implementation step. All 4 components cross-reference each other, so you can move between them as your workflow requires. Under Module A1, eligible management changes include tillage reduction from conventional to reduced or no-till, cover crop adoption from bare fallow to winter cover or legume, crop rotation from monoculture to diverse rotation, residue management from removal to retention, and compost or manure application where none existed at baseline. Multiple practices combined in one project are allowed. Each practice is documented separately in the PDD with its own additionality demonstration. The critical requirement: The practice must represent an actual change from baseline. If farmers in your region were already adopting cover crops without incentive, that practice fails the additionality test. Additionality is one of the most scrutinized sections of any PDD. There are 3 parts. First, regulatory additionality. The activity must not be mandated by existing law or regulation. Check local, national, and any applicable international requirements. Second, financial additionality. The activity would not be financially viable without carbon finance. This is typically demonstrated through an investment barrier argument or a common practice barrier argument. Third, common practice additionality. The activity must not already be widespread in the region. A rough threshold is that less than 20% of similar operations have adopted the practice without subsidy. Weak additionality is consistently among the top reasons for validation rejection. Document each part explicitly in PDD Section 3. VVB validation typically takes 3 to 6 months. It extends to 6 to 12 months, or longer, when corrective action requests are issued. The most common reasons projects slow down in validation: ESM correction missing or applied incorrectly. The most common single issue. Additionality documentation that isn't specific enough to the local context. Stratification that isn't justified with quantitative evidence. Sampling design that doesn't demonstrate it's statistically adequate. And uncertainty documentation that omits one or more required components. The projects that move through validation fastest are the ones where every calculation is transparent, every reference is cited, and every formula is explicitly stated in the PDD. Video 12 covers all 15 most common rejection reasons in detail. One final note. VM0042 is a demanding methodology, not because the science is obscure, but because the documentation requirements are extensive and the VVB review is rigorous. The projects that move through validation fastest are the ones where every calculation is transparent, every reference is cited, and every formula is stated in the PDD. That's what this toolkit is designed to help you do. If you're new to VM0042, watch the videos in order. If you're already mid-project, go directly to the video covering your current stage. Each one is self-contained. Video 2, Project Eligibility Walkthrough. The specific criteria you need to check before writing a single line of your PDD. See you there.